Psychologically, I don't fret over the things I used to fret over. I don't knock myself out for things that are out of my control and there's nothing I can do about. I'm so much more relaxed and so much more knowledgeable. I have an accumulation of knowledge on health that is just bursting out of me. They had the old saying that youth is wasted on the young. You only really know what that means when you get old. Unfortunately, nobody's a Benjamin Button. We all wish we were. To have the accumulation of experience and be 20 years old would be amazing. These 20-year-olds have no idea what they don't know. And neither did I until I got to 60 and went, holy mackerel. If I would have known at 20 that I would feel this settled and relaxed and happy and content when I was 60, I wouldn't have been so scared.
Carol Alt is an international supermodel who took the world by storm in the 80s and 90s. The ageless beauty from Flushing, Queens has graced hundreds of covers worldwide, including Sports Illustrated, Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, and Elle. She was also the face of several ad campaigns from CoverGirl to Noxzema and also took on many movie roles throughout her career. As a long-standing advocate for health and fitness, Carol took her health to the next level by implementing a raw food diet and authoring several books like Easy, Sexy, Raw, The Raw 50, A Healthy You, and several others. I had an opportunity to talk to Carol about her long-standing career, life lessons, and the benefits of a raw food diet. Check out our conversation. Well, Carol, thank you so much for coming on A Fashion Moment. You have such an iconic career, and you yourself are just such an amazing and dynamic person. And I must say, gorgeous. Like me and Sandy Lynch were just like, oh my God, Carol, you are beautiful inside and out. So I can't wait to delve into your journey. So, I always like to start off from the beginning. What was it like growing up for you? You were born in Queens.
Yes, I was born in Flushing, Queens, in College Point. It was a very common upbringing, I have to say. My father was a fireman. My mother was I want to say she was a housewife and a career mother, but she raised 4 kids by herself with no help. And,
Wow.
The other thing is that she was a career woman, but in that time, the thing to do was have children. So she did. She had 4 gorgeous kids, and, she was at home with them. And I'm so grateful for that, because
Wow.
I think that my brothers and sisters and I all grew up with strong moral boundaries, a sense of honesty and fair play, a real compassion for other people, and an empathy for the social situation that I don't think anytime any of my brothers and sisters work for anybody, the people don't want to give them up. They want them. They create jobs to keep them. It's just, she just did such a good job. And I think that she is the unsung hero.
Yeah. High five to all the moms.
High five to all the moms.
Your mom sounds phenomenal. Oh my goodness.
She is an awesome lady.
Wow. So, you're growing up, you have 3 siblings, full house, it sounds like. How in the world did your modeling journey begin? Like, how did you end up from Queens to basically flying all over the world? Like, how did you get discovered?
Well, truthfully, it almost didn't happen. I had a girlfriend whose uncle took some pictures of me in her room at her house, and I never saw the pictures. And I felt really violated. It felt so disgusting and skeevy. And I thought, ew, don't want to do that. So I went into the Army, and I went to Hofstra College in their law program. And then I was waitressing. I'd finally just gotten a job waitressing. And one night a photographer came in, and I was like, really? No, I don't want to do this. It was so disgusting. I felt violated. He goes, no. If you do this, it's really a great thing because you'll see the photos. They'll be out in magazines. And by the way, don't come and see me. I want to send you to an agency. And I put the telephone number in my apron, and it went through the wash. I just was not going to do it. And then my boyfriend, who I'd been with since I was 13, he was at West Point. It seemed like everything at that point I touched turned to Army. Wow. It just was like, I want to be out of here when he comes home from school. I just don't want to be here. And I went into the city. But he gave me very good advice that I always want to tell young girls coming up. You know, if somebody is for real, they will call an agency, they will speak to your parents, however you work. Don't ever do it yourself. And if they say, oh, your mother won't let you do this, your mother doesn't want you to be a star, don't listen.
Wow.
Yes,
wow, that is amazing.
It saved my life more than once, I am sure.
Wow. And I mean, clearly you guys listen to Carol because she has done very well. But I cannot believe the Army. That's like almost like the exact opposite of what people would assume a model would be involved in or doing. Were there any lessons that translated from the Army to your life in the modeling world?
Well, I think everything. I think discipline, listening to the rules, pay attention to people who knew better, who were more experienced. Everything becomes important. You know, modeling is a business, and you're not in it alone because no man is an island. And that is never more true than in modeling, when you need the help of agents and you need the help, even in a studio, of hair and makeup and photographer. You're not a free will. You're not a free spirit. You are part of a team, and you have to be an integral part of that team. You know, you can't be the cog that breaks down and the whole machinery falls apart, because there have been many girls I've seen in the studio who are like that, bitching, complaining, don't want to be there. Like, why am I working today? You know, this is the best business in the world. You can choose the days you want to work. You make exorbitant amounts of money. You don't have to work every day. You get to travel and see different things. You work in different studios with different people. Why not be someone who brings something to the party?
Wow, that is amazing. I am taking notes, Carol. I am taking notes. So delving into your modeling experience. So, I mean, you've done hundreds and hundreds of covers. I mean, you are a cover woman, from literally, Vogue to Sports Illustrated. What would you say has sort of led to your success of landing on those covers and getting those covers?
Well, I really think that covers, in a sense, have nothing to do with the model. The cover really has to do with I guess it's more like a perfect storm. Many things have to come together. The editor at the magazine has to like your look, and the photographer has to like your look. And you have to get into a studio, and the clothes have to be right for the right month with the hair and the makeup. For example, I shot 12 cover tries for Vogue with Patrick de Marchelier. We actually got, in that time, there was a magazine called Mademoiselle. It was Mademoiselle, Glamour, and Vogue with the three big ones. So we shot 12 Vogue cover tries, and I got 6 Mademoiselle covers. Not one Vogue cover. And then I shot one day with Avedon. 12 minutes I was on his set, and it was a Vogue cover. Go figure.
That is wild. You said go figure. I love it. Well, when did it officially sink in for you that you were not just, a model, but a supermodel? Like, when did it finally hit you how big you were?
In actuality, it was nothing that I thought that made me think that. It was an interview. I was giving a live interview one day for the radio, and we had a live audience. And they asked the audience for questions. And this guy stood up and he said, "Do you smoke?" And I said, "No." He said, "So why do you do Virginia Slims? You said in an interview that you would never do cigarettes." I said, "Yes, but then I realized I'm a model and that's my job.
Yeah.
And cigarettes is just another product that we do in modeling." And he said, "But you're not just a model." I said, "Well, my
Wow.
name's not on it." He said, "You don't need your name. Everybody knows it's you."
Wow.
And the radio company kids would say, "Oh, we're so sorry. We're so sorry." I said, "No, don't be sorry. I need the hard questions as well as the easy ones." I said, "You know what? He's right." And I went back to the agency, and that was 1984 or 85. And Virginia Slims was $100,000 a year in my pocket.
Wow.
And I said, "I can't do this anymore."
Wow.
Agency wasn't too happy.
I bet not. They're like, "You're what?"
But I felt better.
Well, you know what? You basically do it all. You're modeling, but you also, acted in so many projects and films. I'm curious which role, had the most impact on you, both personally and professionally.
I have to say that each film role was one of my children. And it's really hard to pick one of your children for any particular reason that you like all above the rest. But your question is interesting because you said, what one helped your career the most? And I had several different careers within acting. The first one, Via Monte Napoleone, was done in Italy. And from that, I got another film called My First 40 Years, where I was just the star of this woman's life. I took her through 40 years of her life. It was a huge, huge hit. But without Via Monte Napoleone, I never would have gotten that. And that started my career in Europe. And then there was a mini series being done out of Italy by Tribune, which was Fox 5 at the time. And it was called Vendetta, or over there it was called Woman of Honor, but it was called Vendetta. And this thing was seen even in Russia, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, because my boyfriend's mother was like, "Oh my God, the princess of the whatever." I'm like, "Your mother knew that movie?" He's like, "Yes, you made her cry." But it was a movie with Eli Wallach, Burt Young, Nick Mancuso, and Eric Roberts. By the way, I just did another movie with Eric Roberts, which is going up on the net right as we speak.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it came full circle. But that one brought me to the attention of people in America. So,
Wow.
so the first one helped me in Italy, and that one to get that film, and then that film helped me in other countries around the world.
So were you speaking fluent Italian before the film? Like, how did that happen? Were you spending lots of time in Italy?
Well, no, not really. I was traveling the world. I didn't speak Italian, no. And none of the movies were in Italian at that point, no. But I started speaking Italian and giving interviews in Italian. And frankly, I was shocked that anybody could understand me or that I could understand their questions, which led me to believe that I was probably, Italian in another life.
I love it. I love it. I'm like, well, you sound amazing to me. I'm like, oh my goodness, she's so good.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But then I actually did a couple films in Italian. It was quite the challenge, and it gave me new respect for the people who come from like France or Italy and were doing films in the United States.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, amazing. Before the interview, I delved into Carol Altland, watching your shows and your movies, just like going down memory lane and delving in. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, you guys got to check out her films, and also Carol Alt's Living Room. I love that show as well. Your interviews with some iconic people.
Yeah,
Um,
the FNL network did a really nice job. Fashion Network Live, they did a really, really good job. My friend Rocco, he just unbelievable. We're hoping to do more of those. We'd
yes, please
certainly
do
love to
bring it
get some
back.
sponsors. Yes, we're looking for
Bring it
sponsors.
back. Oh my
Exactly.
goodness. Yeah, you can check it out now. To our audience, you can actually check out that show on Amazon Prime if you have Amazon Prime. It is phenomenal. Well, you look amazing. I cannot say it like you're breathtaking. I'm curious, what are your top 5 beauty must-haves? I'm grabbing my pen right now.
Oh, okay. Well, lots of water for sure. Let's get the obvious ones out of the way. Um, Really good olive oil and great salt. Really important never to trust anybody else's olive oils, because commercial olive oils, especially olive oils in restaurants, are usually rancid, cooked, chemicalized. You don't want that. So
Wow.
I need to make sure I can eat anywhere, so I always carry my olive oil. And of course, table salt is iodized. It's got packing materials in it. It's been cooked, and that's what makes you swell up. And really good evaporated sea salt is actually minerals that help your body. So always good salt and good minerals all the time.
Wow.
Um, I mean, good oils and good salts. And then, of course, I need my raw food always. Everywhere I go, I carry my raw bars with me, so I always know I can eat. Let's see, that's 3. For you know, if I'm carrying my olive oil, I don't really have to worry about a moisturizer if I don't have something with me. I mean, certainly you smell like a salad, but it's really good for your skin. But
No, that's great. That's good to know.
yeah, I do carry my own skincare, and I do carry my own shampoos with me, my own stuff that I make and I mix. I've lost my hair before, so and gotten down to really, really thin hair with bad shampoos and overload of chemicals. So I always carry my own stuff
That's
with me.
amazing.
So
Wow.
that's pretty much everything. I mean, when I travel, I have one whole bag, one big whole bag of wardrobe, and one big whole bag of protocols.
I love it. I love it. Well, you've had many admirers over the years. I have to ask this for, all of our the single guys and gals out there. Any dating advice for our listeners? Is there a golden rule that has worked for you in your life?
Sleeping with a guy's wallet is the most difficult money you'll ever earn.
Woo! Carol!
You got to love the person. I mean, really love him.
Wow.
And so many of my girlfriends, they go for the money and then they're really unhappy. And so's the guy, by the way, and it never
Yeah.
lasts. And also don't ever think you're going to change somebody. I mean, my ex-boyfriend was, he was a tough Russian guy, but I knew from the moment getting into that, I knew he was stubborn. I knew he was tough. He was a professional. He was the top of his field, which always is a specific type of personality. But you can, when people say, well, why didn't he do that? Like, listen, that was no surprise to me. Whatever he did, I knew who he was. And I accepted him that way. I didn't try to change him. And we only had 2 fights over 17 years, truthfully.
Wow.
And
That's
that's because
amazing.
I knew who he was. And that was
Wow.
it. Don't change him.
Wow. That's amazing advice. Take notes, everyone. Take notes. So, you mentioned, the salt and the olive oil. Like, I know that
Listen, all my friends, when they sit down at dinner, they're like, do you have the salt and olive oil? I'm like, well, who do you think you're talking to? Of course I have the salt and olive
Of
oil.
course I do. I'm curious what inspired you to transition into the raw diet, raw food diet lifestyle?
Getting older. Like
What
everybody's
was
talking
it?
about, no, but everybody's talking about anti-aging. And let me
Yeah.
tell you, I have found the secret And I keep trying to tell people, but they think there's a shortcut. There's no shortcut. There is no shortcut in the world to anti-aging. You got to do the work. There's not a pill. There's not a cream. There's not a shampoo. There's not a facelift. There's nothing like doing the work. And it shows. People will start telling you, oh my gosh, you look like you went on vacation. Did you just have a vacation? You have a facelift? What'd you do?
Wow. So
So
when you started, what happened?
Well, when I started, I was doing a shoot. It was Carol Alt and Friends in the Amazon rainforest. And there was this 22-year-old girl, and I was 34. And she, I was the name on the project and should have been the one that everybody bowed to when I walked into the room. And they were bowing to her. And I was not angry or jealous. I was curious. I was like, what, she just captivated the room. She had this ease in her body. She was at that age where there was nothing going wrong. She was sexy, but not very pretty, but she was sexy, and she had this command of herself and her body. And I looked at that and I went, that was me at 22. What happened between 22 and 34? And if this is me at 34, what am I going to be like at 44 or 54 or 64 if I don't do something different? Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting to get a different result. Well, I was doing the same thing. I was eating the same meal, and I was starving, and I was working, and it wasn't working anymore because I was starting to feel the signs of aging, wrinkles and bloatiness. And, my hair was starting to get whatever. And I thought, this is awful. And I went back to Los Angeles and I just prayed on it. I just threw it out to the universe. And I got a phone call from a friend of mine who said, listen, you're the healthiest person I know, at which I rolled my eyes. I think he was just trying to be nice. And he said, you should speak to this doctor. You'll never be able to look at food again the same way. And I'm like, listen, I eat very little. I'm supposed to stay skinny, blah, blah, blah. And all those little stupid excuses I used in my head not to call the guy. And then my gut just went, you're here praying, asking the universe for help. And this phone call from this friend of yours you haven't seen in 20 years comes out of the blue to a friend's house, not even to my house, calls me at my friend's house. I'm like, how did you find me? And you don't think this is miraculous? Let me tell you something. I'm put in front of people who need to hear my message always. And it's the smart ones who go, I need to listen to this message and I need to make some changes. Some days you just stand at the fork in the road and you can continue doing the same thing over and over again and get the same result. Or you could look at the person who's talking to you and say, who said, I did this, and look at them. And if you want to look like that, follow those footsteps, change your direction, take the other fork.
Wow.
And that's what I did. I spoke to this doctor and he didn't say to me, what ails you? Or, what are your complaints? Or how can I help you? He said, what do you eat? And I went, what? Oh, well, I eat this, I eat that. No, I eat that because I need to stay skinny. So I have to stay on my diet. So don't tell me to eat anything fattening. You know what I mean? And he just went, ha, 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 ha. I bet you have this, and this. My top 6.
Wow.
My top 6 problems. And some that have been diagnosed by other doctors to be things like poison sumac, when it wasn't even poison sumac. Spending all this money. This guy told me what I had from what I ate. I said, this guy's amazing.
Wow. So you start to transition into your raw food diet. And how long was it before you started to see the results?
I went cold turkey. From the minute I was speaking to him on the phone, I pushed the food away I was eating. I went to the store. And back then they had nothing raw anywhere. Now you can get on the internet. It's no big deal. You just type raw food,
Yeah.
But we're talking 1996. What internet,
Wow.
And it was really hard because I was like, at one point I got bored and he's like, why, how are you bored? I'm like, well, the same salad every day. He was like, why aren't you eating tartare and carpaccio and bresaola and prosciutto and raw milk cheeses? And these are things I never thought to eat. In my mind, I was still in an old diet. I was still like, oh, I need salads. I was still in an old diet. And all of a sudden he opened up this Pandora's box of wonderful things, and the universe was colored in rainbows. And he's like, eat every color of the rainbow you can. Eat red peppers and green peppers and orange peppers and yellow peppers. Eat all the different colors. And my world went from black and white to color.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
it was amazing. And by the way, you asked how long before I immediately saw a change in some of the problems I had. That doctor had diagnosed me with poison sumac. That rash that I had went away in
Wow.
3 days.
Wow.
And it got better and better every day. I mean, there were moments when friends were coming up to me and saying, holy mackerel, what did you do? You look like you just came from vacation, or were you on vacation? Did you do a little facelift? Like, what did you do? You look
Right.
amazing. I had energy because I was eating. I mean, that was the biggest thing. I could eat. I spent most of my career starving to stay thin. And that was because I had no command, because I had no information, because I had no education. And what Dr. Timothy Brantley, he wrote an amazing book called The Cure, The Brantley Cure. I mean, he taught me, he educated me. And it ultimately ended up saving my life, because I had some life-threatening health issues that if I hadn't listened to him, I didn't know I had them when I was talking to him, but because I went raw, I never ended up having the really bad. I mean, I didn't end up dying from them, but you know what I'm
Wow.
saying? But I
That's
mean,
amazing.
he was really brilliant. And he always said to me, Carol, look at who's selling the product. Look at who's selling the diet. Look at who's selling. Do you want to look like them? I said, no, I want to
Hmm.
look like you. He goes, this is what I do. And then he taught me.
That's amazing. Well, I immediately, like, just hearing your story from, some of the shows you've done, and also your Instagram, which I'm obsessed with. You guys have to follow Carol Alt on Instagram. You do these like amazing 60-second raw food recipes, and I am like in love with them. So thank you for doing that.
Well, I hope you're not disappointed. We kind of changed them up to make them like 3 minutes so that I could be a little bit more in depth about the benefits of the things in it. So we're doing the
Yeah.
IGTV, but yes, we are doing like today's video, which just went up, was Seventh Heaven Soup, and it's so aptly named. It is so stunning. It's fabulous.
I love it. And you wrote 2 books. What are the names of
Oh,
your 2
honey,
books for our audience?
I wrote 7 books, but
I'm sorry, 7. I'm so sorry, Carol.
I had more to say than just 2 books could handle.
Woo! you know, we're going to add the list of all the books in our show notes so that you guys can check them out.
Well, I think here's the thing: the first 3 are probably no longer in print, because they were in print for 15 years.
Wow.
And of course, raw food has moved on from there, and so have I. The book that would probably help most people is not the one I wrote with a doctor which was about cellular anti-aging, unless you're into like, heavy duty medical stuff. But the one that's really great is A Healthy You, because that was based off of my show and all the doctors who came onto the show. And I took a little bit of information from everybody and I compiled it and put it together to make a book that was more well-rounded. So you got the diet stuff, you got the workout stuff, you got how to dress, how to make up. It really is more well-rounded and a lot of fun. But I'm sure you could still get Eating in the Raw, or Easy Sexy Raw, or
yes,
the Raw 50 on the internet somewhere for sure.
And you know what's so crazy? Like, in my mind, I mean, I was so like ignorant to the whole raw food, movement, because I thought it was just like raw, like vegetables, and it's like, wait, there's like more raw foods than just like sort of the typical vegetables that people would assume, right?
Well, you fell into the same hole I did. That's what I said to the doctor. It's so boring. I can't eat any more vegetables. He's like, vegetables? Try germinating some, chickpeas, or some, almonds, or, tartare and carpaccio. And I was like, oh my God. Like even seared steak, if you're in a restaurant that doesn't have a tartare or carpaccio, even if it's seared rare, as long as you got the enzymes in the center, it'll digest the whole meat. It just was so amazing that every food out there starts out raw. And some of them you can eat raw, some of them you can't, but a lot of them you can. And that's what you aim for. Don't forget, we're creatures of habits. We start eating something and then we like it, we stay with it and we keep ordering it. That's what's going to happen in raw food. You'll find the raw things you like. You're going to find them. And that's what you're going to keep going back to. You're not going to like everything.
Podcasts are awesome. And I know you love them too, or you wouldn't be here right now. But have you ever thought about starting your own? Don't worry, you don't have to be a techie, but you do need a bit of guidance so you don't make costly mistakes. My name is Sunny, and I've been podcasting for a long time. I've launched more than 15 profitable podcasts, and I'm the founder of the Independent Podcast Network. My online course, How to Launch Your Profitable Podcast in 30 Days, gives you the keys to the 5 Ps of podcasting, which is everything you need to launch and grow a successful podcast. You get unlimited access to more than 35 videos and dozens of handouts. And when you purchase my course, you're also supporting this awesome podcast because they're getting 50% of the money when you use their special link. How cool is that? Let me help you get started with your podcast. Go to podcastareawesome.com/fashion. That's podcastareawesome.com/fashion.
Well, I'm curious. I know you make so many different meals and different types of recipes. Is there a favorite that you make, like maybe like once or twice, like a week, that you're just
Ceviche.
obsessed with?
I love ceviche.
Oh, I do too. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to go through your recipes to find it because
and you could choose any kind of fishes you want. You could choose whitefish and shrimps and salmon and whatever fishes you like, and basically all you're doing is curing it in lemon and a little olive oil with a little salt. And sometimes it's too lemony for me because I'm really a bland eater now. So if you get a ceviche that you don't like the sauce, wash it off.
You're making me hungry, Carol. You
I'm
are
hungry
making
too.
me.
I'm starving.
You're making me hungry. Well, you have you spoke about your hair journey a little bit. Your hair looks amazing. Is there a raw food in particular that really helps with keeping, healthy hair?
Oh yeah, any raw foods, everything.
Wow.
Because here's the brilliance of the body, if you will. The body repairs itself in a hierarchy, and at the bottom of the totem pole is, at the base of the body is your muscles, your organs, your ligaments. The food has to keep the body running. So the first thing it does is it has to digest food. So in order to make enzymes, it pulls vitamins and minerals, because everything in the body is made from vitamins, minerals, proteins, everything. Essential fatty acids, everything. No carbohydrates, but everything in the body is built from those simple things, which you get most of from raw foods and way less from cooked foods. So basically your body says, I have to keep things running. So I have to digest food, then I have to repair vital organs and ligaments to keep the body up, running, and healthy. And then at the way end of the list, the last thing that the body needs to take care of is vanity things like skin, hair, and nails. The body could care less. Skin, hair, and nails gets the leftovers, So if you're thinking that you have a pail, which is your body, it's like a big pail, and you're putting in cold pressed oils and heavy proteins and probiotics and vitamins and minerals in a way that the body can read, with your whole vitamins and minerals, and you're putting all these things in the pail, and you fill the pail up. The body's going to come and say, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this. And it's going to use up everything in the pail, and it's going to grow beautiful hair, beautiful skin, beautiful nails. They're going to anti-age because there's enough things in the pail to include anti-aging.
Wow.
If you fill the pail only halfway through, the body's going to say, okay, I need this to digest food. I need this to repair your liver. I need this to repair, a cut. I need this to, fight these bacteria. I need this because you ripped a muscle or you're working out or whatever. And is nothing going to be left over? to take
Wow.
care of your anti-aging needs. So
Wow.
fill the pail with all good stuff that the body can use.
Wow. I'm filling the pail. I'm getting rid of everything in my refrigerator. My husband's going to be like, what's going on?
No, see, that's the biggest mistake people make. I'm sorry to say.
No. Yes, please, please.
Do it as a game. Make it fun and include your husband. Look at the things that you like to eat and look for raw alternatives. Now,
Love
don't
that.
forget, they're not going to taste exactly the same, but you can certainly get a dehydrator and make potato chips in your dehydrator that are just
Ooh, I love
potatoes and
that.
cold pressed olive oil and Celtic sea salt that aren't fried. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can make a lot of stuff, but they're going to taste some better, some just different. But you're going to have to you can't just throw everything away and then expect you're going to love everything that you order. Olives taste the same. I mean, raw olives as opposed to cooked olives. Raw olives are way better for you and they taste exactly the same. So do raw pickles. If you get dill pickles, real pickles taste exactly the same. So does real sauerkraut. But some things taste completely different.
That is
I think it
wild.
was, on my Instagram, one of my upcoming recipes is an avocado mousse. I don't tell people that it's avocado until after they taste it.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
It
Oh
is
my
so
goodness.
delicious, and people won't give it a chance if they think that it's avocado, because a lot of people can't think past guacamole
Yeah.
or avocado in their salad. They can't think of it as a dessert.
Oh my God. I am going to be looking for that. I cannot wait. That
Yeah,
sounds
so
amazing.
don't expect to do this overnight, and include your husband in the decision making, because then, or if you have kids, let them
Yes,
pick.
I have two.
Let them pick. There's so many
Yeah.
amazing things. There's a place in New York City called Rawsome Treats. They make a raw tiramisu. I mean, it's just
What?
awesome.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I'm checking
There's
that out.
raw cookies, raw cakes. And by the way, it's better for you to eat a raw cake or a raw cookie for lunch than a ham sandwich,
Wow.
because it's got way more nutrition in it. It's got healthy fats and all kinds of things that the body, your brain is almost 95% fat.
Wow.
Give it
Wow.
good fat. Give it the good stuff.
Absolutely.
Give it the high
Wow.
octane 92, not the low crappy end 85. You've got a Ferrari, not a Volkswagen.
All right now. Okay, Carol. I hear you. I love that. I love that. Oh my goodness. Well, I can't chat with you without talking about your amazing shoe collection. Oh, she does videos with her shoes too, y'all. I mean, it is
That's
so
Tuesday. Yes.
Tuesday with Carol. I love it. I'm curious, who are your go-to designers?
I have a lot of vintage shoes from people who gave me shoes on the set. Mostly when I was acting. When I was modeling, nobody ever gave us anything. But when I was acting, I got a lot of shoes because I got my wardrobe as part of my deal. So I have a lot of vintage shoes. I've got so many great Foray shoes, and Foray isn't even in business anymore as a designer of shoes. But neither is Cavalli, come to speak of it. This week's shoe was a Cavalli shoe. I mean, those were stunning, sparkly, excellent, sexy shoes. Yeah, but I mean, wherever I find a good shoe, that's my go-to designer. But certainly my girlfriend at Stuart Weitzman sends me a lot of shoes. So I have to take my
Yes.
hats off to her, because she really did some really great shoes for me in the past.
Well, how do you know if a shoe is the right shoe for you? Like, what should people look for when they're shoe shopping?
I'm sorry to say this because it's going to sound really old fogey, but comfort.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. That's what I always think.
A really sexy shoe is great, and I've got a bunch of those that I can't even freaking wear. I look at them and I say, oh, some are just meant to see the ceiling in your bedroom. But, if you're going to wear it outside, you need a good shoe that's comfortable. Even if it's high heel or sexy, it could be a little uncomfortable, but it can't be majorly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
fashion is painful, let's face it. Starting from corsets to Chinese women binding their feet to make them small. I get it. But, if you're running around New York City out at an event, there's nothing worse. And I've had this happen. And I had a fabulous pair of shoes, and halfway through the event, I just couldn't even stand it anymore. You just want to go home.
Yeah. It's like torture.
It's torture.
Yeah. So comfort, you guys. Comfort.
I always carry my flips in my bag, even in the winter. If my shoes are bothering me, I don't want to sweat it anymore.
I love it. I love it. Well, are there any designers that you gravitate to in your wardrobe that you love?
Yeah, I do a lot of Jimmy Choo. I do a lot of Prada. I do a lot of Prada. Prada, I like kitten heels. Kitten heels for daytime, especially in the city. You're not going to break an ankle. They're comfortable enough that if you have to walk 5 or 6 blocks, because no cab will go 5 or 6 blocks. If you have to walk 5 or 6 blocks, you can if you have to between meetings. And they look elegant and they're sexy enough. Prada makes very good kitten heels. They look really sexy. And,
Yes.
they can be worn with a dress or with pants. It's not like you're wearing a flat and it looks terrible with a sexy dress. A nice kitten heel for the day is actually very appropriate.
I love it. I'm curious, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you think people have about aging in general?
I think we're not taught anything about aging. And I think we don't listen. It's, aging is like the girlfriend, the new girlfriend of your ex-husband. You know what I mean? That new girlfriend sits there and looks at you and says, oh, he didn't love her like he loves me.
Wow.
Oh, he'll never do that to me like he did it to her. Aging happens to everybody, as does a bad man.
Yeah.
If he does it to his ex-wife, he'll do it to you. And aging is the same way. If he does it to me at 60, that little 20-year-old looking at me going, oh, she's just old, is going to be old, God willing, one day. And that's the only thing that keeps you going when you get old, is that age is the great equalizer, that everybody goes through it. But there's so many little things that people don't tell you about aging, about hormones changing, and about all the things that worked when you were 30 all of a sudden don't work at 40. Or you look in the mirror one September and the following September, oh, wait a minute, that changed. And then the September after that, oh, wait, that changed. And they could be subtle little things like losing the volume in your cheeks or in the temples of your face, or your hair suddenly going gray. Well, nothing sudden. The body is amazing, but at any particular point, it's the accumulation of everything you do to it. So nothing is overnight. It's the accumulation. So, the thing is that you want to put it off the most natural way you can for as long as you possibly can. And again, look at who are examples of good aging. And genes aside, yes, genes can only take you so far. DNA is only so far. The rest is what you put in your body and how you utilize it.
Wow. And obviously, it's also a beautiful thing, everyone, because you've come into so much, wisdom and knowledge and even just knowing who you are.
That's a psychological thing. I mean, the physical thing is, I thought we were talking about physical things. I mean,
we're talking physical.
Start looking like your grandmother's. You say, that's my grandmother's arm. What is it doing attached to my freaking body? Yes. But if you're in good health, those are physical things, but good health. Sorry.
Can't buy that.
That was weird. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Something just popped. My phone just flickered. I thought I lost you. Psychologically, yes, I don't fret over the things I used to fret over. I don't knock myself out for things that are out of my control and I can't, there's nothing I can do about. I'm so much more relaxed and so much more knowledgeable. I have an accumulation of knowledge on health that is just bursting out of me. So yeah, mentally there's so, as you get older, they had the old saying that youth is wasted on the young.
Mm-hmm.
You only really know what that means when you get old. Unfortunately, I mean, nobody's a Benjamin Button. We all wish we were. To have the accumulation of experience and be 20 years old would be amazing. These 20-year-olds have no idea what they don't know. And
Oh,
neither did
yeah.
I until I got to 60 and went, holy mackerel. If I would have known at 20 that I would feel this settled and relaxed and happy and content when I was 60, I wouldn't have been so scared, physical stuff apart.
Wow. Wow. That is powerful. Wow.
Yeah, aging is many facets. It's the physical, which is what I always go for because I'm in a physical business. When they're taking a picture of you, they don't care what you're thinking. They just want to see how good you look or how bad you look. Even they want to judge you.
Right. And army, like, a food maven, like, raw food maven, like you are just bursting with information and just an amazing, amazing experiences over the course of your life. And there's still more. So I'm curious, like, we're talking about aging, but like you seem to have your finger on the pulse of what's next and what's happening. Like, how do you remain like modern as you're aging? Like, for some of the folks out there who may feel like they're kind of stuck, like, how do you keep it current?
How do you stay relevant?
Or just current? Yeah. Just like,
Yeah.
you're on Instagram,
You know
doing
what?
your
I got
thing.
young people around me.
Wow.
Even though they have their pulse on the wrist of today, I still have a lot I could teach them and let them know what they don't know to help them move along even better. So a lot of the people that are around me are younger and they are in a symbiotic relationship with me.
Wow.
Even my media guys, why not you media? I mean, great. But, there's things they need to learn, when shooting a celebrity. And there's things that I need to learn and give up because they know Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's phenomenal. I love your Instagram. I'm obsessed with it, you guys. That's why I keep bringing it up. But you also do some really great philanthropic work. What is the Tony Alt Memorial Foundation, and like what type of work do you do through that
Well,
organization?
the Tony Old Memorial Foundation was my late brother. His friends at work decided that his love of children needed to have a manifestation. So I raised money for them for a very long time. And then, as things happen, those people got other jobs and moved away and got families and did their own things. So it no longer exists in actuality. But the money that we raised was 100% used for the St. Jude's Foundation and to give a scholarship to a deserving child.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
love St. Jude's.
all I did was raise money for it. So, I moved on from there. I adopted two cats about 5 years ago, two rescue cats who are just the love of my life. One
I
has
love it.
Oh yeah, one has one eye, and I just, I looked at that little face with that one eye, and I said, I just need to give this kitty a good life because she deserves it. And she is just like, it took a while, but she just came around so beautifully, and she's just a beautiful little soul. And so I raised money for Denise's rescue, which is up in Washington Heights. Denise will sit in a park at 2:00 in the morning in 40 below to try to capture and trap a feral cat or dog who looks injured or hungry. She will socialize them. She takes them to the vet. She takes care of them. She feeds them, and then she gets them homes. And believe it or not, everybody says that, feral cats can't be socialized. And I beg to differ. She's got the whole basement of her building that the landlord gave her, and she's got 30 to 40 cats in there at any particular time.
Oh.
And, that's a lot of money you need to raise to feed them,
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Oh
and
my
she
goodness.
just, she just spends 24/7 on these animals. So I try to, raise money. I donate money. I buy food. My birthday is coming up December 1st. I've told all my friends and family, don't give me gifts. Please don't give me gifts. Just donate. Even $100. Who cares? $100 to an animal charity, you can write it off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it helps out so much. So
Oh my gosh,
much.
$100, I could get so much food for $100.
Wow.
For 38 cats and dogs, I mean, they eat all the time.
Oh,
They
it's
don't
so
stop
beautiful.
because it's coronavirus.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Oh my goodness. Well, you just chatting with you just about your life and career is just so inspirational. I would like to know, like, what legacy do you hope to leave from your career and your experiences?
Truthfully, it has nothing to do with modeling or acting. In if truth be told, I want my legacy to be one of love and sharing and empathy and education, helping people change their lives, and animals to be saved. I have a little stone, and on the stone is carved, that saving a cat is not going to change the world, but for that one cat, the world changes forever.
Absolutely.
And you know, every person I'm put in front of who needs my help, needs the information that I have. And believe me, nobody's put in front of me who doesn't need the information. I can talk about many things, but if for some reason the conversation gets around to food, I know that person is in need, that the universe is delivering for them, and that they need to hear this. So there's people out there who are listening to your podcast right now who really need this information. And if they're smart enough to accept the information and educate their own selves, that's great. But just to be able to save one person, to help one person have a better life where they're less hungry and less angry and less bitchy because they're happier and they're fed and they're nutritioned and they're healthy. That's what this is all about. For me, these people like Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez and Dr. Timothy Brantley, who helped me, who educated me, saved my life. So all
Wow.
I'm doing is paying it forward. That's the important thing. We're all here. We're all stuck in this together. What
Wow.
kind of life altering information comes from shooting the picture of a great coat? Okay, yes, it pays my bills, but it doesn't alter the universe. But saving animals and having empathy and teaching people how to be smarter about what they choose to put in their bodies and what they choose to have around them, educating people makes the world a better place.
Wow.
So
That's
that's what I
perfect.
hope my legacy is. I want to make the world a better, more loving place.
Ah, I love
and
that.
and I'm just a pebble dropped into a pond, but you know what, hopefully those ripples will reach the shores as tsunamis.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I love that. This is a fashion moment. So, of course, we have to ask, and we
Go
ask
ahead.
all of our guests, what is your favorite fashion moment of all time? And it can be personal, professional, it could be something you've seen, anything.
Oh my gosh, there's so many, I can't even sift through them. But immediately, right off the top of my head, came a moment on the red carpet in Amphar when I was late and dropped my coat and ran onto the red carpet and still had my shapka on. Do you know what a shapka is?
I don't.
A shapka is a big Russian hat.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm on the carpet in this beautiful, elegant gown with this gigantic Russian hat on my head.
Oh, that's
It was
fabulous.
hilarious.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to try to look for a photo of your red carpet photo from Ambar.
Listen,
I
if you
love it.
can't find it, I will forward it to you. I saved it because, you work so hard to be elegant and, you go through your hair and your makeup and your stylist brings you clothes and, you're walking in snow in high heels and whatever the designer sent you to wear. And I'm there and I run out onto the carpet. I've got this giant hat and everybody's like, your hat. And they were like, leave it, leave it, leave it. And I'm laughing hysterically with this hat on my head.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Carol, for being on the show.
You're very
I'm just so
welcome.
inspired. I am just so inspired by you and just the amazing advice and really the information that we all needed to hear. So thank you. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. Thank you for having me on the show. By the way,
All
you did an
right.
amazing job. You're a wonderful interviewer.
Thank you. And I mean, you just learning about your life and just who you are and having a moment to speak with you is really inspirational. And believe it or not, I actually needed to hear so much of what you said. So thank you.
Well, like I said, there are no accidents.
No accidents. Well, I know you have a big project going on and
Yes,
you're
I got to run. So
but
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. Have a great day, Carol.
You as well. Thanks.
Thanks so much for joining me for this week of A Fashion Moment. If you like what you hear, we'd love for you to join our community of listeners and spread the word about the show. We also want to hear from you. Share your favorite fashion moments and dream guests with us by sending an audio clip or email to afashionmomentpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can tag us on Instagram at A Fashion Moment, and you could be featured on next week's episode. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review and let us know what you think. Until then, see you next time for another fashion moment. Podcast production by Rebecca Rashid and John Taylor Williams. Digital media production by Megan Porras.
This recording carries a Creative Commons 4.0 international license. Thanks to Patrick Patricios for their song, Hot Coffee.